Thank you.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of approval of the agenda say yes.
Yes.
All those say no.
Alan, how do you vote?
Yes, it's not sure.
Thank you. It's done.
Okay.
7-0. Passes 7-0. The mission of USD 49 is to provide a quality learning experience for every student in every classroom every day. Our consent agenda.
Yeah, this evening with your consent agenda, you'll have board meeting minutes from previous meetings, HRC minutes of the agenda, director's report, also from policy council at ECC, of course, site council minutes from Wilson, personnel transactions, some employments, some resignations, and some transfers. I believe there's also some new sped para positions that have been added. Financials, Chris?
The bond project tracking is updated. We pay the pay apps on the 25th of each month, so the expenses have not changed. But we did, if you remember last meeting, we talked about, we got the updated estimate on interest revenue. We also now have the updated arbitrage estimate from Gilmore Bell, the bond attorneys, and that's coming in way better than what we had expected. The combination of interest and less in the area of arbitrage, up about 1.8 from last year's estimate. So they re-estimate the arbitrage every year on an annual basis, September 1st, and so the bond project fund grew considerably due to the interest revenue.
I think that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anybody would like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Yes,
A
I-
second.
One question if I can.
Yes, sir.
Rather than pulling
Go
out
ahead.
later if we
No,
discuss
go
it.
ahead.
Financials, there's, snaking the drains that we paid like $400 some for. I think it's like on page 16 and whatnot. What schools was that done on that we were paying the, I think it was CNN or CNS, whatever?
I can look it up and get that for you. I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. And then any findings as far as, anything concerning with the sewer system compared to just general maintenance? And was there anything brought up? No? Okay.
Nothing that I know of, but I can do some checking.
Yeah, if you would, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed say no. Passes 7-0. Public comment. Do we have anybody that wants to speak? All right, presentations and reports. 4.1.
Yeah, Doug Williams is here and with David Klingan. He's going to jump in. And Doug's going to give us a report on Grow Hayes. And it was good to have Doug here.
Good evening, board members, staff. I'm Doug Williams. I'm the executive director of Grow Hayes, and it's been a while since I've been here, so thought I'd take this opportunity to come and one, thank you for your past support of our projects, give you some update on our projects, and ask you for future support to some, and then also get out of here as quick as I can because I know you've got some sporting events that you might have some. So I'll leap right into this. Many of you are probably familiar with the Grove. This is the addition that's going in north of Hayes Medical Center. It consists of a community center, 14,000 square foot community center, which will house a 70 licensed child care facility for 77 children. The Hayes Senior Center will move in there, and then it'll have some community rooms. We were able to construct this project with some grants we received from state and local foundations and a host of private donors and that type of thing, about $6 million in all. And if you've gone by there, you've seen that the construction has started. They're working on the foundation. They're putting in the underground plumbing things and that kind of thing. In addition, this project consists of a housing development that is retiree-focused. Many of you probably saw that the house on the corner is not there anymore. It's been moved off. And we do own the house next door to that is still there. But we have 2 years, the lady in there has 2 years until she has to be out of the house. So, but in any case, on September 24th, we received the infrastructure bids for the streets, sewer, water, those curb and gutter. The engineer's estimate was $5.4 million. That bid came in a little over $3 million. So a good thing to happen in the world that we have today, because most things tend to come in higher. So we were pleased with that. So that should start sometime here in the next 30 days. That alludes to the company out of Oakley was the low bid on the infrastructure bid. They do a lot of highway work, but I think they can time this with some highway work they're doing with doing this project. There's a picture of the former house once it was removed. And fortunately, we got it cleaned up, and it looks much better than it did then. As I mentioned, the Bob and Pat Schmidt Community Center will be located there. We expect that to be finished. It was started on August 21st. They said 330 days. So we'll see how they do. But it should be sometime next July is when that facility would be finished. A couple of shots of the construction site there. We also have a grant pending that we're trying to put a greenhouse in next to the community center. We feel like we ran across this opportunity, and we feel like it'd be a great thing for seniors, but also children to come over and this intergenerational thing we're working on in this facility to be able to grow things and for young kids to understand what it's like to grow things, but also seniors to be able to continue a place to garden and that kind of thing. So we'll know on that in the next couple of months whether or not we get that grant, but we're hopeful that we will, and it'll be constructed right next to the community center. Next thing I'd like to update you on is the micro factory. Many of you may have been out at our ribbon cutting back in March. We're a little disappointed that we don't have any occupants yet. What we're finding is it's very much like Brief Space. If any of you have been to Brief Space, that's our co-working space down on 10th Street. And this was a new concept to our community and our area, and it took a while for it to kind of take root and people to understand what it was all about. So for the first year or two, we had fairly sparse usage. Today, we have people in there every day doing things, and there are times when we have to turn people away from using the facility. And so I think we're experiencing a little bit of that with the micro factory. It's kind of a co-working space for manufacturers. And so we're talking to people, but we're also picky about who goes in there. You know, we've had a number of companies that are in the distribution business look at that, but we don't want it to where people are going to store things. We want it to be a facility where people make things and where they employ people to make things. And we export it from this area. So we're being somewhat selective at this point. There may come a time when we can't be so picky, but we're still at this point in time optimistic that we're going to get the right fit in there and get a number of companies in there that can grow locally and accomplish what the facility was set out to do. The Tallgrass Addition, if you're familiar with that, that's the area east of NCK, or I guess it's now Fort Hays State Technical College. We started on that project along with Heart of America back in 2020. We actually broke ground on the first house in September of 2021. Since that time, there have been 54 homes that are completed. There are 12 that are going to be started on Wheatland Drive. We just completed Wheatland Drive about 2 months ago, and 6 holes are in the ground right now. They're starting to pour basements. They're all sold. There'll be another 6 started in November. Those are all sold as well. So been a great success that development has, and has been provided some much needed housing for our community that we have really needed for a long time, and at a price point I think that has met the marketplace, and it shows because every one of them has sold prior to it being done. So that project, as I mentioned, was done by Hays, Heart of America, but the city of Hays has also entered into an agreement with Heart of America to cash them out of their RHID bond position so that they can go forward with the next 90, it's hard to see that, but there's 97 additional lots there to the north that we're in the process of platting. We'll start to put in streets and infrastructure there next summer. And so the deal that the city has made with Heart of America, with the RHID, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, Heart of America recovers their investment in those streets and all that infrastructure over a 25-year period of time. Well, they can't keep going if their money's tied up for 25 years. So the city of Hayes has agreed to bond that infrastructure, get Heart of America their money back in exchange for them moving forward and developing these next 97 lots. So it's truly a win-win arrangement, and I'm confident that we can keep right on going in that area and keep building houses at a clip of 20 to 30 homes a year is what our hope is. And as long as demand stays strong, I think we'll be able to meet that. You may be familiar with some of our retail efforts. You may have seen some of it in the press, but through a grant, we were able to acquire the 9.1 acres north of Home Depot, and we're working with a number of retail vendors in trying to put together a shopping center arrangement there. You know, Hayes has long been an area, a trade area center for northwest Kansas. But we haven't done as much in the retail development as we need to do, and there's a lot of reasons why that's the case. Some of it is land prices, some of it is retail is not in a world where they're doing a lot of expansion right now. You know, bricks and mortar retail is much less than maybe it was at one time. You see a lot more mail order and internet type things. But there are bricks and mortar retailers who are looking to expand. We have a good market for them. So our intent is to develop that shopping center and recruit those people. Obviously, more sales tax means more tax revenue for the school bond, for the city, for the county. All three of those entities have a sales tax in place, and so the more retail we can develop, the more retail sales we have, the better for all of us. It doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take some time, but we're working diligently to get that done. And I might add with this, I get a lot of pushback sometimes with doing new retail development. You know, people say, well, what about the empty space that we have at Big Creek Crossing or in the Centennial Shopping Center? And we work with those organizations all the time. We're trying to help them recruit people, and we talk to people. But the reality is some retailers are just not willing to go into a facility that's at that age, or it doesn't lay out the way they want it to lay out. Sometimes the logistics of moving 4 or 5 different businesses to make room for one doesn't work economically. So there are situations where new is the only answer, and those are the kind of retailers we're working with. So I don't want people to think that we're doing this at the expense of those organizations, because we're happy to help them. We want to recruit all the retail we can. We also make loans. We have an e-community loan program. We have over 36 loans to 32 different businesses, most of them downtown businesses that are entrepreneurial startups. Through Network Kansas, we're able to have these loan funds. We can loan up to $50,000 on one program, up to $100,000 on another program. We've got about $1.5 million worth of loans that we've originated to these businesses. We're currently in the process of holding our, what we call Ice House, but I guess we call it Think Like an Entrepreneur class. It's an 8-week class that we host. Chris Munch teaches it, and there's a lot of, I see a giggle about Chris. There's only one of him, that's for sure.
He does enough commercials.
But we've got 15 students enrolled in this session, and it's a great class. Chris makes it entertaining and a lot of fun. And then we have our Youth Entrepreneurship Challenge, where high school students come in and compete in a competition for entrepreneurship to qualify to go to the state competition. That's coming up on November the 12th. In Ellis, if you've been over to Ellis lately on South Maple, the street has just been completed over there. There's 12 new lots that have been developed there that can be built on. So some things going on over in Ellis. Victoria the same way. There's a couple of different housing developments that are under consideration right now, and I think we'll see come to fruition in the next 6 to 12 months. The last thing I wanted to talk about was what is now called the Reinvestment Housing Incentive District. And for those of you who may not remember this or don't totally understand how it works, the developer goes in, he buys a piece of property, he's going to develop it, and he spends, well, in this case, say $3 million in developing it. What the RHID allows him to do is capture the tax increment that he creates by these things being constructed. So in other words, that piece of property before it was on the tax rolls for $500, once there's houses on it, it's appraised at maybe $3 million. That difference in assessed value, those property taxes that are created, about 88% in our case, go back to the developer until such time as he has either recovered his investment in those things or 25 years, whichever comes first. The exemptions of the RHID are the 20 mills that go to the state for education and the 1.5 mills that go to the state for state funds. So basically, nothing is being given away that's currently being taxed. It's just delaying the property taxes that would come from a development like that if it would happen otherwise. I can tell you, being in this, it's not going to happen otherwise. Without programs like this, those houses won't get built. On the good side, the sales tax on all the building materials and all of the things that go into those homes is generated locally. And we hopefully have homes where people can move into our community, they have kids who go to our schools and those type of things. So the trade-off is good, but in the past you supported that, and we ask for your continued support in these RHIDs. We're going to be coming to you with more of them as other projects come up. The Grove is currently in front of you right now, I think, and then I think the Heart of America on the 97 lots will be coming up in a couple of months. I know that Mike Graham on his 48-unit apartment complex down on 10th Street will be coming forth with an RHID. So we're going to be in front of you. These issues are going to be in front of you in the future, and I wanted to make sure that we expressed what it is, see if you have any questions, and make sure that we're all on the same page. I think beyond that, I'd answer any questions.
So Doug, how do you advertise for the RHID? Just through Grow Hayes? Do contractors help advertise for that?
Well, the way it's been done up till now is that Heart of America, when they develop these lots, they agree to sell it to contractors if they'll build a minimum of, initially it was a minimum of 4 homes per year. Now it's 10 homes per year. And then they buy the lots at a greatly reduced value. The first 36 were sold at $10,000. The last 18 were sold at $15,000. So the contractors are the ones that advertise their houses. Now, it has not been a problem because in talking to one of them the other day, I think he said he had a waiting list, or he had a list of interested parties of about 25 people. So they've been great interest in these, partly because they're cheaper than what they would normally be because the lot price has been pushed down. Heart of America required these builders to build at a price point in order to be a builder in this development. The first 36 were no more than $225,000. The next 18 were no more than $235,000. So that's how the prices have kind of been controlled. I question to call them affordable because everybody has a different opinion about what's an affordable home. But I can assure you, based on what I've seen in other communities, that price point is pretty much unprecedented in what you see throughout the Midwest for new home construction. And they're getting a lot of home for their money.
And have you seen, are any of those new homes, new people to the community?
I'm glad you asked that. It's been about a third. A third have been new people to the community. A third have been people who either upsized or downsized, so they sold an existing home, which is very important to a local market because it adds more homes to the market. And then a third have just been from out of town.
And have you heard comments from those people about the new location, the new high school and those types of things as why they...
I haven't personally talked to any of them, but I know that's a factor in what people are looking at. And if you drive out there, you see lots of bicycles and tricycles and that kind of thing. So there's lots of kids out there.
Well, I appreciate everything that you do for our community, Doug. I'm very proud that you are part of our community. I think you do a wonderful job for the city of Hayes.
We're very happy to be a partner with USD 489, Ellis County, and the city of Hayes. Everybody has to takes a lot of people, including the contractors and Heart of America and everybody, to make these kind of things happen.
Doug, you were talking about the Tallgrass Edition and that the specials those are transferred over to the new owners?
No, when you do an RHID, there are no specials.
Okay.
So the developer recovers his dollars through the tax increment over 25 years instead of through special assessments. So that again makes the homes much more affordable. If we had assessed specials, it'd be $250 to $300 a month on each of those homes. So the specials are not
Already taken care of.
Yes, they are.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You bet. Anything else? I certainly thank you for your time. And as always, if you ever have any questions, you can reach out to me. As Ron said, David Klingen is here. He's one of our guys, so reach out to David or James Robin, any of us. We're happy to work with you and answer any questions we can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. All righty, next up is 5-1 Superintendent's Report. Mr. Wilson?
Yeah, just included in your packets is the bond updates, packets for Bayside, Roosevelt. We're honing in on Roosevelt a little bit as we look to finishing that project. We have set the move-in dates for November 25th and 26th. That is the 2 days prior to Thanksgiving break. This will give teachers the opportunity to move classrooms, finish everything that will comes with what they've been doing, kind of been stuffed in spaces. There'll be a lot of moving going on, so that's where we're at with that. We are also kind of established that the ribbon cutting event, and I'll give you more details, I don't have the exact details, will occur on that Monday, December 2nd. It might be first thing in the morning. That will actually be the first day that everybody is in their new digs. So get that. It's not going to be a big event, but it will be some more ribbon cutting, kind of celebrate being finished with the project. I've also included in your packet just the after last meeting where we established that the board would be looking at selling Lincoln Elementary with a sealed bid process. Have included the notice of sale. Peter helped with that and put that together for us. Process will be just after bids are opened, and we've set November 15th at 1 p.m. as the deadline to submit sealed bids. If the bid is acceptable to the board, we would then have a resolution for the board to approve, to accept the bids, and then next step is to enter into the contract for the sale of Lincoln, and after the board approves that resolution, that's when we would take it to the legislature to give them, yes, we have the contract to sell this building and give them the first right of refusal. So that's the process that's been laid out, and so if everything is good with the board, we will get that notice of sale out starting tomorrow. And I've also included just coming up here, 14th of October is another one of our PD days, just included the agenda that will be followed throughout our district for all teachers, certified staff who are participating. Just wanted to get so that's all I have.
Thank you.
Hold on, just
Anybody got questions for Mr. Wilson?
Yeah. Just confirming, there is no school for Roosevelt on the 25th and 26th?
We have not, that's not been advertised at this point. We will be advertising that probably starting very soon. And once we get that.
Are the teachers in need of any assistance to help move things, or?
We will have some students that are not moving locations, so they will be able to help with that. So I think we will have enough, but I can check in.
Excellent. Well, let us know if you need any help.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wilson, what are the steps that we're using to advertise the sale of Lincoln?
We would most likely send this out to local realtors, all our local realtors, so they're aware, they can get the message. We'll have it on the website, on the computer, anything else that we need to do.
Any developers are aware of relevant parties that bid on Washington grade school?
Do we have a list of all the improvements and all the money we put in it so they see what the value that they'll be getting? You know, to kind of show them that, hey, this is a building that's worth looking at? And do you have an opportunity for people to come and walk through it?
We've given a few tours already. We'll continue. We've had some requests for more tours. I've talked to several people. I know some other people have talked to people, and we've set those up for those individuals. So we've had quite a bit of interest, actually. And so I think, and that's without even doing any advertising. So I'm not overly concerned with that one.
Is there like a statewide realtor multi-list or something that we could put it on? Because there might be a company,
Well, I'd have to ask local realtors.
you know, Doug might know somebody that's looking, that might want to come to Hayes looking for a building that caliber. So it'd be nice if we had some more people know
we've
about
got
it.
people outside of Hayes who have already contacted us. So I think the word's out.
Anybody else? All righty. Moving on to action and discussion items. 6.1, classified and administrator handbook first read.
Yeah, what you have in front of you is just two handbooks. The administrator handbook there's no changes from previous years, so that's as, I guess, same handbook that the board approved last year. Classified handbook has some changes. I'll let Chris talk a little bit about that.
So as you go through it, most of the changes were formatting and updating wording and things like that. Kind of a deep clean of the handbook. Not a lot of actual process or true changes as far as policies, practices, or procedures, but we did try to go through and highlight anything that was maybe a procedural change or practice change. You can compare it also link the current handbook, but again, because we did a lot, we found that we talked a little bit about something here, 5 pages later, we had another section that was very similar. So we did a lot of that formatting stuff. So looking from the old one to the new one makes it look like there were a ton of changes, but we tried to highlight any of the true substantive changes.
So Chris, we can assume the yellow is the highlighted yellows are the changes?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any removals or is that part of the deal?
Yeah, that's part of it. Honestly, in the end, there weren't a whole lot of practice changes at all. For example, we added longevity bonuses a few years ago. Well, in going through the act of administering them, we realized that, in the handbook, we didn't say 12-month people, July 1 is the anniversary date, and September 1 is the anniversary date for the 9-month school people. So it was clarification. Add the section in there saying, this is how we actually calculate it. Things like that, but nothing really substantive. We had some really old language in there about custodians needing a different physical before they started compared to everybody else. We took that out because there is no requirement for that, so they have the same TB test and health screen as everybody else. So things like that, but really nothing that impacts much of anything.
On my copy, I don't see any red lines or anything.
No, it's just yellow. It's just highlighted yellow.
It's a section that
Is the change, is the new change, but what about the things that were taken out?
right. There's a link also to the old. But again, if we did that, we tried doing that. We had red sections everywhere because we moved some things together to consolidate, so we only talk about benefits in one place instead of having pieces of it.
So for us to see, we have to be looking at two different
Yeah, if you pull them
screens.
side by side, you'd be able to see any section that's got yellow highlighting. You can go compare where those were addressed in the previous version. And if you come across questions as you're looking at it over the next couple of weeks, please don't hesitate to call them. clarify. And if you have a question, we'll try and share that back out to everybody to make sure that everybody gets the same info.
Chris, where's the other link at?
It should be just right below it. It says if you click here for the comparison, that here is
It's
the link to
under
the website.
administrative content down there at the bottom on that.
It's also linked on our website. It's actually just going to take you to a link to the.
Oh, I see. It's a website. It's not a document. Okay,
And it says linked here.
I see. Thank you.
Anybody else got anything to? Well, all right, thank you. Next is 6.2, Hayes High Tennis Court Design and Bid Service Agreement.
So yeah, this is just to start the process to upgrade tennis courts out at Hayes High. I've included the bid for the design, court design, bid services from Mammoth Construction, as well as a layout, a Google Earth picture so you can see exactly what we have. What we have there is actually 4 courts that are currently being utilized. Well, they haven't been utilized for a year. It'll be maybe 2 years by the time we're back on them. The plan will be to resurface those 4 tennis courts, kind of upgrade them, give them some tender loving care, as well as add in 4 more courts right beside it, along with a shade structure and a seating area, hopefully in between the 2 courts, which will give some viewing for those who are watching tennis, shade structure to stay out of the sun when they want that opportunity. So this is just starting the design phase, and we'll be bringing, once we get a design, we'll send it out for bids, and we'll bring that back.
And where do they practice currently, Mr. Wilson?
They're currently practicing, I believe, in Fort Hays. Yeah.
They're at Fort Hays State because it was in the financials at $3,350.
Yeah.
And that would be the girls. Are they doing then the boys go in the spring the same amount then too, same thing?
I think it was the same. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a month, or that's for the entire
I would
season?
imagine the entire season.
Season.
And how many kids do we currently have out?
I can't tell you exactly, but in the past, it's been about 40 per squad, 40 boys, 40 girls. Maybe a little less this year, I'm not really sure. We have a lot of kids who do participate in our tennis. Having 8 tennis courts for our teams would be great. Said we haven't had 8 courts for a long, long time.
So Mammoth is just getting the bids and making all that, they're not actually bidding it themselves, they're not doing the work?
They most will probably bid it, yes.
Is that
They're
kind of-
designing it.
Well, yeah, there's kind of a conflict having the same person design it and bid it as far as...
Well, they're not, yeah, they're just getting the bid specs, they're writing the bid specs and getting it out. It'll be sent out to all contractors.
But, I mean,
There's not very many contractors who actually do post-tension, because what we'll be asking is to put in a post-tension court, and this is way different than just, leveling some dirt, putting up some wood forms, and having some concrete work. It's way more extensive. A lot of contractors are not interested in post-tension.
Is that what we have now with the new ones that we just did? They're post-tension?
Well, I don't know when.
The section, the newest
I would
section?
imagine they're post-tension. Hopefully they are.
They are. I remember when they put them in, where they have the cables through and they
Yeah,
tent it.
then absolutely. I mean, you don't want to put anything but post-tension, because apparently that was the problem of the other courts, is that they weren't post-tension and they just.
The original ones, that's correct.
It was almost like it was built out of asphalt too. I mean, the top was, it was.
Yeah. There's a lot of work that goes into this.
So they're just going to resurface the original,
The original.
or the newest ones?
4, and then we'll be building a new floor.
Do you know if Mammoth is the one who did Fort Hays State?
No, I don't believe they did.
Okay.
But Mammoth's the ones been doing our AstroTurf. They also did they did our middle,
Company, but they
Yeah.
do.
In the middle school-
They build things as well. They don't, it's not just turf that they do.
they were the middle school track too, weren't they?
No.
That was different?
Road track exam.
Okay.
So is there a reason why this was a bid to other designers that might be interested in this?
Well, it's just the design work. We work with Mammoth and feel very comfortable in that they could put together a good design for us.
I guess, would it be possible to put it out for other people too, so that we can get some other numbers and see where we're at? I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting more than one bid on something.
Sure, we can try. Yeah.
I think it sounds reasonable, at least.
I think the thing is, they have worked, we've talked a lot with them about what we want to do. They're very interested, so they put together, and I think, feel very comfortable. Give us a good design.
Oh, I'm sure they do it fine, just maybe there's somebody else that has different ideas that, you know,
The unique part of Mammoth is they are in sports construction.
Oh, I'm sure
A lot of, I mean, the thing is, that I'm not probably really interested in talking to people who haven't done sports construction. These kind of courts, they do these kind of courts.
well, we found out somebody else has done Fort Hays State, so there's somebody else doing sports construction. I mean,
Do you have a list of tennis courts that they've done, different places that are around that?
I don't have it, but yes, they have done courts.
Because I know Salina just put in a number of those brand new ones that they had worked with the city of Salina, and they put a lot of research into it, and they have them on their facilities. So I think it would be advantageous for us to maybe get more people involved instead of always go with the same people. I mean, if they're really good at it, then they'll bid it right.
The thing is, sometimes going with people who have worked in your district is an advantage for your district because you understand that they're reliable and they're people that do good work. So I think there is an advantage sometimes to go with what's like.
I think there's a lot of probably good contractors out there. I mean, unless City of Fort Hays got hosed by them doing their tennis courts. I mean, might as well talk to their people.
So tell me about the bidding process. So they're going to be in charge of the bid, accepting and
There's nobody in charge. They're putting the specs together.
okay, so they're doing the bidding specs, but not anything to do with the bids. The bids will still come to us.
They'll come to us.
I would like to see us share this with other vendors and other people and look at it. When are they going to do the project? It's going to be next summer, or this is a capital outlay project, which
Yeah, I mean, it's going to delay it. I mean, the thing is, we will have to research and find people, and if we find people, then we're going to have to work with them, and we'll be pushing further back.
Mr. President, before we continue talking, is there a motion out there?
No, there is no motion for any of this.
I motion that we table this until we get some more bids to see whether this is a good deal or not.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded to table this to collect more information or
More bids.
more bids or more personnel to bid.
Correct.
Okay?
Before
Any-
we vote, how long do you think would this push it back? What would be the process to find other people? Who would be in charge of that?
I would be the first, probably, to in charge of that.
So would you, I'm going to sound really stupid asking this question. Is there like a database that's not Google that you go to like find these things or like?
No, I think there's, I mean, I'm familiar with other,
Well, you can contact Fort Hays and you can contact Salina, evidently, I've heard. Just here.
there's not a lot of people that do this kind of work for testing.
And just,
I've done enough research to understand that.
okay,
I did find a group out of Denver, Colorado.
okay.
But
So just this bid is just for designing and creating the specs for the actual bid.
So, yeah, so we send out the specs or the bids, it's got specs written to that.
Got it.
They're designing the recipe to be,
Cool.
Would Rusty be able to find who did our current post cable system, or to see who put it in, and that, I mean, maybe we want to work with them again. Because I don't think it was Mammoth that put it in the original.
Probably wasn't.
But if, I don't know, this is a question. Just because they make it and put it in, does that mean they know how to create a spec sheet or a bid?
Maybe, maybe not, yeah.
I might hear it when I get home, I don't know.
I bet you if they're big enough to do it, then
I have no idea.
not that hard.
Is there any proprietary surfacing product or anything that Mammoth owns that would end up in the bid that would exclude
No,
any
that's
other
no proprietary.
possibilities?
I mean, it's concrete and cables and.
Okay, nothing that they've invented?
It's not exclusive.
Okay.
They're going to write any specs that.
Okay.
No. There are some situations where, yeah, that could probably.
Yeah.
Really in the turf business.
Right.
Absolutely.
Fabric, there's all kinds of things that you can put in your spec
Yeah, they
while
don't
you're
have-
designing.
They don't have the patent on the.
So if that's not, okay.
So the surface on a tennis court, is that just concrete, or do they swirl it, or is it got a pattern, or?
It's another surface.
Do they put some,
On the concrete, then there's a surface.
there is a surface or covering over that, okay, all right.
And there's a special kind of concrete.
Well, I understand that.
So to go back to her question, how long will that set us back if we table this? Because it's
It's going to set us back. I don't really have a clue how far it's going to set us back.
Well, they're still playing tennis, though. I mean,
I mean,
still
the
use
thing
4
is,
days.
Mammoth has been out here, they've looked at the project, they've taken photos, they may have started some preliminary stuff. I feel like they have, so they're a little ahead of the game. We have to find people, and we'll have to get out here to look at the project. Like, for example, if the group out in Denver is interested, then, I talked to them, but we've just kind of dropped.
What was that name of that group out there?
I don't.
Realistically, if we put this out to bid, what do you think how much do you think we could save? Like, do you think someone could come in and save us like 10 grand? Do you think someone could come in?
You're not going to save that much money because it's. I mean, that's just design work. It's pretty. I mean, I would say most people are going to be in that area.
It's my concern, and here's my concern. If, like, you're absolutely right, we could table it could set us back because they are playing tennis at Fort Hayes. But if it set us back, let's say one more tennis season, whatever money we save, we're going to have to spend on renting from Fort Hayes because that's not cheap. Then that's my concern.
Potentially. I guess where I have a problem is that the company doing the specs is also doing the bidding, to where, like, if you had somebody open up, and then maybe they can think, oh, we could do it some way different.
They're not-
Let's say
they're
save
not-
money on the backside compared to.
Yeah.
We own it.
Your rent, Jamie, is $3,300
So that's what I want to know
is
is,
that a season?
per season,
Per
Per
event.
season, so
per season.
twice a year.
So it'd be twice, yes.
Is that for
that's my next
practice or
question. Is
just
that
games or matches?
3,300 for,
It was in the financials.
Oh, that's once a year?
and do we have to,
Another cost when we host meetings.
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do we have to pay extra?
Do we host them down there too, or we use the city courts?
No, because
Well,
they
we haven't used the city
pickleball.
courts in a while, have we?
So we're not using our current courts at all for practice?
No, they're in a construction zone.
Oh, gotcha.
And they're not in very good
Hours a
shape.
day.
No.
They're not great.
October 18th and February 24th through May 16th. So that's for the year.
So it's $3,300 for the year to practice down there.
I believe so.
Okay.
I'm very worried that this is going to get pushed back and then shoot off again. I'm not saying that's what we're doing. I want to make sure that does not happen. These tennis courts have been needed for decades. So I'm okay with putting that out to bid. I just want to make sure we stay on top of it. If we push it out for a bid on that, I think we need a pretty tight timeline on that. I don't know what a reasonable timeline on that is, but I don't want those kids to have to travel to Fort Hayes any more than they already have to.
Well, and the motion, the recommended action tonight is just from the tennis court design and bid service from Mammoth Construction, which is just $30,200. I shouldn't say just, because it's a lot of money. But if we prolong it again and then next season, we are at Fort Hays again, how long, Ron, would it be before? Because you said at our meeting last time, we couldn't, under CASA rules, we can't even have a tournament here because we don't have the courts to,
You have to have 8
you have to have
courts.
8 courts in order to.
Yeah, you have to have 8 courts. Now, I don't know what Fort Hays has. They probably have 8 courts.
They have.
Yeah. So I think we could host, I don't want to say that we can't.
Okay.
We can host it at Fort Hays.
We can host it at
If the schedule allows.
And pay Fort Hays for that
Yes.
event, like we would
Yes.
football and everything
Yeah.
else we do at Fort
Yeah,
Hays.
we would probably not apply or, apply to become a host for a regional meets because we don't have our own facilities.
Okay. Because Fort Hays uses it at the same time.
Yeah. It'd be kind of cool to have our own tennis tournament.
Well, it would, and I'm just thinking if we can bring those types of events to the city, and you're talking, most of those are on Saturdays, so you're
Yes.
talking spending the whole day in Hays America.
Yeah.
So you're eating at our restaurants,
Yep.
you're using our fuel,
Yep.
you're staying in hotels. So the revenue that we bring into the city could help the entire city.
I'd say half of them are on Saturdays.
Half of them are Saturdays.
Yeah, there's some weekday ones, yeah.
But you get the tournaments are on.
The
Yeah,
tournament,
big tournaments
yeah,
are.
'cause-
And there's smaller ones that during the weekdays, because,
Those would be like matches
Yeah,
or
during
like
the weekdays,
duels.
I would say you have duels.
right, yeah.
The tournaments are usually on the weekends.
Well, I used to drive by there were 4 or 5 schools, but yeah.
I guess we feel more reasonable, like by next meeting, you reach out to other vendors, other contractors, and see what the interest might be from other people, and just, see if there is anybody else interested. Just, 2 weeks through that.
Is Mammoth from Topeka or Wichita? Where's their
Merendon,
Meredith.
Meriden, I'm sorry.
Mary, Kansas? Okay. Well, we have designers from Kansas City now.
That's
so
that's
we could
suburbia,
pull
Kansas City.
Kansas City, Denver, wherever,
It's Jeff County.
and find out who's available.
And
I would be okay with 2 weeks, like next meeting, but I would not be okay with more.
2 weeks is a work, 2 weeks is a workshop.
Session, and technically, in the past, we've not taken any action.
You're right.
So you'd have to waive that if you want to take action at the next board session, or it would be a month.
Be a month, yeah.
So is there a reason why, because I think this is September, the 6th day of September, you had this, or that's what it says up front, so why are we waiting until our October meeting to look
I
at
have
it?
no idea. I didn't write that. I have, like I said, they've been out at our facility. We've talked to them. They've taken pictures. So yeah, they've probably done some preliminary work.
I assume they just started writing it, like a report, just finished it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my
Thank you.
I guess my concern is like, everything's put before us to vote on spending money at that meeting, like compared to like the handbooks and stuff, we have a first read and then like, time to sit down, think about it, kick it around, talk to people, constituents and all that. Compared to all the spending stuff is like, you gotta do it right now or else the kids won't play tennis forever. And like, that's not true. It's not. Things would be okay, but I would like more time to look over stuff instead of just saying, here it is, vote on it, pass it down. In general.
I think the work has been done, and that's why I'm bringing it to you.
Well,
because we've done the work, and that's why we bring it to you.
So our job is oversight.
Trust is in the administration to do the work that we bring to you.
Yeah, I don't have the trust.
That's your problem.
No, that's not my problem. That is a problem for lots of people.
But our policy is that we're supposed to bid projects, anything over 20,000, and this is over 20,000, so we should be bidding it. We should be looking at
Service
I know services, but
does not apply.
the friends and family shouldn't always work. I mean, we should be allowing other people to have a chance to work with us. And,
Any other discussion?
I don't think this is a friends and family, Alan. This is somebody who's done work for us before, and we know how they do it, and there's been a trust built. I don't see that's...
Isn't that definition
You're making
of
it
friend?
seem...
I just
Well,
think that
well,
there's-
hey,
yes,
let-
we know them.
Alan, let's let Mr. Brooks finish, please.
If you're working in a business setting, and Ruth can back me up on this, you work with people that have done good work for you. It's not a friends and family thing. It's called business.
Well, I think give them a shot, is for sure. I think you've had a good working relationship with them, but there's nothing saying you can't go and look at other bids and other things. Maybe you don't like the other bid because the person has a bad reputation or their materials aren't the best. But getting the information is not a problem. Like, getting more people to bid a job is not the problem. You can pick whichever bid you want.
Mr. Wilson, the other company that you know of that does this kind of work is out of state.
Yes.
So this is an in-state company that
Yes.
does this work. It's very specific work. It's not common. And this is a fair architecture design price. That's the research you've done. You've seen other similar things.
Well, if you want example, I think we paid HTK $68,000 to design the bathroom concession stand.
Okay, that's comparable.
Okay. Do you have anything else to say, Mr. Park?
Well, I think that should have been bid too. I think we should be outbidding these projects and getting people involved and not just always go with people we know. I think it's great, especially local people that we know, it's local. Not always go with somebody that you've always worked with all the time. Give them a shot, of course, and if they can beat anybody else, or come back with another bid. But if not bidding against somebody, sometimes they're not going to give you the best bid.
Okay, I think we've heard enough discussion. The motion and the second's been made to table this to the next board meeting to garner more people that would be interested in bidding this.
Can you specify, would the next board meeting be the work session? Or
No, it'd be the next.
It'd be a month.
We could talk about it at our next board meeting.
But we can't take action.
We just.
I think it would be
Special meeting if we have to.
November 11th from what my calendar says. Okay? Any other discussion? All those in favor of tabling the motion say yes.
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 Yes. All those opposed say no.
No.
Motion failed, 3-4.
Motion fails 4-3. Yeah. All right, so we're,
Make a motion to accept the Hayes High Tennis Court design and bid services from Mammoth Construction for $30,200.
thank you very much.
Second.
And it's been seconded. Any discussion? I guess we've had enough discussion on this one. So the motion is to accept the Hayes High Tennis Court design and bid services. You covered up my words. Construction for $30,200. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed say no.
No.
Passes 5-2.
Thank you very much, Jess. All right. Next is Hayes High surveillance cameras.
Good evening. So I'll go through this real quick and then open it up. I imagine there might be some questions. So what is in front of you tonight is the new high school. It is the camera surveillance system for the building, bay protectors for the bathroom, carried through what we have very similar to the high school now. It is 204 cameras, network devices, and then I think 54 of the bay detectors that cover the building. It's an access system, same as we have replaced at all the other buildings in the last 3 years. So it's a matching system, matching hardware, so we'll be able to maintain it like we have. The winning bid, the only bid we got was Next Tech here in town. I had, I think, 5, 6 different vendors reach out within the first 24, 48 hours of the bid being posted, and then nothing after that. And it was kind of scattered all over from Kansas City, St. Louis, Wichita. Next Tech was the only local vendor that submitted, or actually they're the only local vendor that contacted. I'm trying to think, there was one other, the cost of the system. It is a one-time cost. There is no ongoing licensing with it. So the investment we make today is that. It does include 2 96-channel NVRs. What that is, right now, every one of our buildings stores across 1 NVR per site. This one being enough cameras, we needed the 2 systems. That'll provide redundancy in it as well. So if we do take 1 NVR down for maintenance, we're still covering with the other. Kind of like the 30,000-foot view, and I know there's probably more specific questions. I'd like to answer those if you have any.
You said an
NVR, network video recorder. So you have DVRs or
Nobody like your,
the
yeah.
recording device. So just
So like a backup, kind of?
not necessarily. It's just where everything's stored.
Got it.
There's just going to be 2 of those servers sitting in the rack. It provides, like I said, 2 96-channel. Those are expandable. So even if this is very good coverage of the whole building. I don't foresee anywhere down the road that we'd have to add any cameras. But even if we did, we still have space in the system to bring those on board. This would record 90 days of footage. So we do have that. Rarely do we have to go back 90 days, but it does happen sometimes that, something doesn't get reported. We can go back, or, vandalism, something like that that's not noticed. We have gone back, so it is helpful to keep the recordings for at least 3 months.
So do we have access to view it? I mean, that'll be in the office, I'm assuming.
Yes, so included in this are video decoders. So if you've been in any of the front offices of the current buildings, you'll see the TV up there that cycles through different views. The high school, I think right now, has the 1 PTZ camera out front that kind of goes back and forth so secretaries can see. So it does include those devices. It includes 3 video doorbells. So the main entry, the student entry, and then the west, what I call I think the Hall of Fame entry to that gymnasium. There would be a 4th video doorbell that's needed. That is not part of this bid. And sole reason on that is with Lincoln closing at the end of the year, there's a video doorbell there. So we would just bring that one back into service. That would go at the south end of the E-building. And the purpose of that is you have students during the school day, they're going back and forth. If they need to get buzzed in, they'd be able to call the office and the door would be open remotely.
Do these cameras also record audio, or is it just video?
Some record audio. The current buildings, that's more in the common spaces, front office, and I'd say most of them no. I think in this current one, I know for sure the elevator cameras would record audio, just confined space, vandalism that happens in there. In the past, the current buildings, we've used some of the audio recordings. I wouldn't say probably the administration uses them a whole lot. It's been helpful to identify some vandalism in the bathrooms in the past, but that's kind of the extent of it.
Thank you.
And so the public's aware, just to confirm, it's 197 cameras.
204 camera and network devices.
Okay, and that includes the vape,
Yeah, 54 of those.
54 of those, and detectors across the entire building, inside and out.
Yes.
And this is bond money.
This is, yes, there's money in the bond that was set aside for this in technology fee. What this also includes is cabling external to the building. So any cameras that are out and away from the building, that cabling is part of this package. All the internal cameras or any cameras that are hanging off the building are already part of the low voltage bid that was awarded out there. So that cabling is all taken care of already. And that vendor is Next Tech. They won the low voltage bid. So they'll be putting in the bid or putting in drops, cameras. So as far as that coordination, that makes that pretty
How many
seamless.
cameras do we have in the current building?
I want to say right in the 80, 90 mark. Across the district right now,
What are we
No,
talking?
just at Hayes High.
I think it's right around 80.
So we have going from 80 to 280?
But this is the new high school.
Right, I
Yeah,
understand.
200,
No.
206. or 204 cameras and network devices. And that's
More than twice as many.
it's probably more like the 190 cameras because that network devices are your video decoders, video doorbells. So you're probably 190. So yeah, a little more than double. And a lot of that is, if you look at the current high school, a lot of straight hallways. So we're able to hang a camera and look for a distance down a hallway. This new one with the angles and the hallways back, we had to add cameras for coverage there. So that's been.
So when you have more, we don't have anybody watching the cameras. They're just there to, I mean, they're going to be displayed, but I mean, it's more cameras, they'll be scrolled through or something, because you can't watch 200 cameras at the same time.
So like you're talking the front office and what they see?
Yes.
We can pick and choose what's on those displays.
So you'll just pick on the main
Yeah.
concerning points,
Mhm.
the administration will select.
Yeah, and there's certain things the admin can do in creating views. Like the current system, I think, Sean and Becky, they have views are, you can have an all bathroom view. So during a passing period, they
parking
can click
lot
that.
view.
Yeah, parking lot view. So you can cut that number down to a manageable view of what you want.
But everything's recorded, so if there was an issue, we could find out what happened.
Yep.
Sure.
And that's what they do now. Even with the vape detectors, that's all linked together. So if that detector goes off, it talks back to the camera server, and we'll package that all together in a video and say, hey, this time this detector was triggered. And
Try like a smoke alarm or
they do detect smoke.
does vape
Vape
is part of that?
Yeah. But it packages all that video together, so the administration, SRO, whoever needs to go back through that video, it's all there in one piece for them.
I guess as far as like other bond things out for bid, is there other things out, that's going for bid, coming out of bond money for the new high school currently, or is this the only thing out?
You'll have some furniture, you'll have some sports equipment things. We pulled something out because it's stuff we can do.
Do you have, roundabout numbers, what you're thinking for furniture and sports equipment, like how much that's going to be, roughly?
So, we'll get as much furniture as we have budget for, sports equipment we have budget for.
Well, I understand, but this coming out of the bond is also taken away from, the current middle school, the current high school, so.
We completely understand that.
This was already set aside.
We'll be working diligently to, be very efficient in how we go about that.
We're going to start that now?
We have started.
It'd be nice to see.
So Scott, is that this take most of that money that you're talking about? That's the allotment for the tech? Or there's still some left in that fund?
There's still some left. We've actually, Ron had me go through and look at that and about what's coming out of the budget. And we were actually able to roll that number back quite a bit to free up for the rest of the project.
So the locks, like we did at Roosevelt, are they going to be something we're going to pay for too, or is that doorknobs and locks?
Anything that's new, any new addition that is built, like at Roosevelt, the new addition, the locks came out of all. But when we do the other parts of the building, that comes out of capital.
The other part of the
Remodels, right?
Yeah, resident.
The existing part.
Because we're redoing all the locks in the district, right, with that new system that we just replaced 5 years ago. So are you part of that, or is that all on maintenance?
Rusty does a lot of the actual setup of it, but I'm in it as far as like the server side of it and as a backup.
And those are electronic locks or somehow that they connect through a network to? Are you part of that?
Yes, so the gateways that talk to the locks are on our network, and then there's off those wireless gateways or wireless nodes that talk to the locks.
So those $200 locks, are they that we're taking out? What are we doing with those? Are we selling those or?
I think I've shared before that all those alarm locks will be put out for other people to consider.
So, Scott, when you say all schools, so this is for the new high school, then I would say the old high school, the same equipment, same,
Yeah, we'll keep what's there.
okay, the middle school?
Yeah, all your other buildings, we have 10 10 other NVRs running right now. So we've done 10 of these systems across the district.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what schools.
Last 3 years.
So the middle schools got cameras and stuff. All the elementaries?
Yep.
And early childhood?
Yep, early childhood actually runs 2 servers right now.
Okay.
Yeah, one is their hallway exterior, one is the classroom.
That's all the same kind of equipment, same? okay.
Transportation.
Okay.
everything.
We've done a really good job of
Okay.
updating our camera system
Yes.
in the last 3 years, and I can tell you, our administration is very happy, and it's just become integral to having that in your building. So,
Well, in today's world, I don't think you can
Yeah.
have enough.
it's also, it's funny, it's also the expectation. Anyone who they want to know, well, don't you have video of that? It's almost expected that you should have video of everything. And we do, for the most part, but there are times where
I used their video and took the video and went to the insurance company in Texas on a wreck. So,
Do we have a motion?
nope.
Mr. President, I would like to motion to accept the bid for surveillance cameras for the new high school from Next Tech for $379,334.88.
Thank you.
I'd like to second that.
There's been moved and seconded. Any more questions for Scott?
I did want to just throw out one final point, just because I know it's a thing that comes up on everybody's mind. Any video that is recorded by these is all stored locally. I know in the day and age we are with privacy and things like that, we don't pass any of this out to the cloud or anything. So anything that's recorded stays with us.
That's great, thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
We're good.
Thanks, Scott.
Seeing no other discussion, thank you, Scott, very much. We shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of the motion to accept the bid for surveillance cameras for the new high school from Next Tech, all those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. All those opposed say no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
It passes 6-1. And 6-4, ATS classified staffing recruitment.
So what we've got is a proposed contract to engage with ATS, who does staffing for primarily custodial, but has worked with other districts to help provide staffing for all support positions, so kitchen, transportation, custodial. If you remember, we have a current arrangement right now with Cleanright on our custodial side, so the night positions, we're to the point where most of our night positions are filled through BP Cleanright. And that won't change. Very successful relationship. That business model is more hiring a bunch of part-time people to kind of crowdsource or demand source, maybe bring in 15 people instead of having 3 full 8-hour people. You may bring in 15 people and each work an hour and a half, 2 hours, do a couple of rooms, whatever. But it's pretty well with them. What we're finding, however, is we are still having a very difficult time filling some of our more traditional 6-hour or 8-hour a day positions in the kitchen, in transportation. We're fully staffed right now in transportation, but at times we are understaffed. We know that we have had difficulty keeping those spots filled. When we look and when we're in conversation with ATS, their business model is to staff in those full-time positions. They do it a little bit different. They do it with a lower benefits package and a little higher wage. So in working with them, we think, or in having conversation with them and talking with other districts, we think it would be round out our recruiting strategy. So when we're advertising, a lot of the people that we have on staff right now really value the benefits package that we offer. Very robust health insurance, heavily subsidized premium. So we're getting the people that we get, but we're not able to fill the positions with the people that we get. What ATS has had luck with is offering a lesser benefits package, higher wage. We've worked with them to come up with basically a flat cost for us. So we know how much we have invested in our current staff by the time you put in benefits and everything else. We worked with them to basically have another offering for folks if they're interested in a lower benefits package, they could get hired through ATS. Our total hourly cost would remain the same, but we want to utilize them to try and see if they can help us fill open positions that we've had open for a long time.
So do we, Chris, they're their employees. So do we still instill under them a background check and all that kind of stuff as well?
Yeah, so part of the agreement is background check has to be done, and this is with anyone we use TV also. Background check has to be done. I mentioned earlier our health check. We'll do the health check because it's pretty eccentric to Kansas public schools. We have to do a TB test and a health screen, which is to ensure that they don't pose a health threat to students. So we would do that for anyone if we were to hire through a staffing agency. We would still do the health check. They'd be required to meet all the same requirements that we have. Through ATS, we would basically manage their staff. So they'd be employed through ATS, assigned to us to work under our managers, follow our direction. They clock their hours, they get paid through ATS. If we have disciplinary issues, we talk to ATS and they handle all of that. So they're responsible to us in every way, but they're employed through ATS as a staffing agency.
And have they given you a success rate stories?
Yeah, so a few of, and again, they are just now getting into what I'm going to call the 9-month position, so like kitchen and transportation, they're just now getting into that, and so we're kind of in uncharted ground. They don't have a track record there yet. We're one of the first ones to try to work with them to fill those spots. On the 12-month positions, which primarily custodial, they're working with 12, 15 districts around the state, and in all of those cases, they started with a handful of positions, and in some cases have gone to where they've taken over entire buildings, but their staff are responsible for the whole building. So they've had success, and the districts that we've talked to have been happy with the service and the value that they bring to them in maybe finding a different set of employees that we're not able to find right now.
Chris, what districts have you talked to?
So Auburn, Washburn, Derby, let's see, now I'm getting my enterprise mixed up. They've done one of the Blue Valleys. I can get you more. Auburn, Washburn is the ones we talked with the most around the custodial person, I believe, is the other one that they're starting on 9-month staff with. They're trying to find transportation folks for McPherson because they're looking to have to cut routes. We would start probably in the kitchen. That's where we've had the most openings, where people are getting the most frazzled because we're understaffed.
What is your estimate on how many staff members that you think they'll end up supervising?
Say that again?
How many do you think are you looking for? 20, 30, 100?
No. Right now, we've had 2 long-time openings in, we would probably start with trying to find those. We would start with trying to find those.
And we're just not able to offer them like the higher pay with it, just because of the district and stuff.
Yeah, so what we did is we put it on a scale, right? We said, here's our input cost. Now, we keep the exact same input cost to you, ATS. What do you go figure out how much you can pay, and you go advertise, and you do the Indeed searches and all that stuff, and bring us applicants. And we've done some test case, and they've been able to find applicants.
So do you still do the hiring, like here, like you guys talk to them and say yes, no? It's not like they hire them and,
Yeah.
okay.
So they have a couple of different models. What we're talking with our 9-month staff is exactly that. They're responsible to us in every way. They line up the interview, we do the interview, we decide, yeah, we want them. If we want them, we call ATS and say hire and assign them to us. They also do, for their 12-month staff, they do more of a staffing agency where they have a manager and that manager does the recruiting and the hiring and the staffing and the placement, stuff like that. We're not looking at that right now because we really need the most help with our 9-month staff.
So do you know what kind of turnover rate they have, or?
I don't know that. In talking with them, I haven't talked with any of those districts about that, in talking with them, they haven't had a ton of, it doesn't feel like they've had a ton of turnover, but again, where we're talking in our 9-month staff that get less hours, it's going to be a trial by fire.
So what happens if they do hire somebody and they're there a few years and they're like, man, I want some of those benefits. I don't care about the high costs there. Would you be able to? We
have been very transparent in all of our conversations with ATS, and we will be very transparent with all of our current employees too, because I would anticipate there would be some people that maybe they work for us for a little while, and they say, hey, I want to come over, and we've talked with ATS. There's no fees, fines, whatever. We're working together, because I wouldn't doubt that the other side is true also. We may have some people that are, say, 65 and don't need our health insurance. We would allow them to go leave us and go to work for ATS as long as they're placing them back with us. If they want to trade the benefits package for $1 an hour to go work for ATS, we would be open to any and all of that. And as we move forward, if we move forward, we will have all of those conversations with our current staff too, because again, the way we built it is our hourly cost is the same, whether they would work for ATS or whether they would be working for us. And so we would be open and honest with every one of our people and say, hey, if you want to do this instead, do it. And ATS knows if we interview people or people are working for them and they decide, no, I want him on, try to set some parameters so it's not a back and forth, but yeah, we'd be open to it.
So there isn't any minimum time where they have to be their employee?
No.
We can just, they can just do the recruitment and stuff for us in the first place?
We've had conversations as well about how about if you just recruit for us, and because they are able to do, I don't know how they're doing it. We've been advertising for 2 kitchen positions for quite a while. We said, I said to them, you're going to find the exact same people we find. This isn't going to work. And this is over about 1.5 years we've been having a conversation with them. Before we, about a year ago, when we were really in dire straits on the custodial side, I said, go ahead, you guys run an ad they said, we'll run an ad for 5 days and prove to you we can get 25 apps. They ran it for 3 days and got 15 apps. And I said, okay, fine, you proved it, shut it down. We didn't need to go with them at that point. We were able to fill. We've done it on the kitchen side with the 9-month people, and we said, fine, go ahead and advertise. And they put it out for 4 days, and with their wage only being about $1.50 more than ours, they've found 20 plus applicants.
So is it a wash, or is it we may save money?
We are being very intentional about building it as a wash, so that if we do have people that want to go to work for them instead, it costs us the same. And if they would rather have that, and it means we can keep them, we're entirely open to that. So it is 100% being built as a wash.
Like raises go across the board too, like our people get a raise,
Yeah, we'd have to figure that out when we get there, but yes, yes, they would have to do that because we're going to tell them how much we're willing to pay them an hour. If they want to lose money on it, they can give them a bigger raise, I suppose. But, yeah.
So I see there's nothing to put out for a motion. Is there a timeline where we're going to need to?
Yeah, sorry, I should have put that in there.
We're fine.
I would like if because we've been in conversation, and if we approve a contract, we would be in a position to move by as early as beginning of next week.
You're looking for a motion for this agreement?
To approve it,
Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
to enter into contract with ATS, yes.
I move that we.
Sorry, I should have done that.
It's fine. We'll get it. So we're looking for a motion to approve an agreement for classified staffing to help fill vacancies from ATS Facility Services.
I so move.
Thank you very much. Mr. Brooks, we have a second.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to come into an agreement with ATS Faculty Services. Are we ready, Jess? All All, nope, it popped up. All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, no?
Mine hasn't popped up, so I don't know what to do wrong. But yes, yes.
It passes 17.
Passes 7-0. Thank you very much. That should conclude all, little machine. I know it does. Okay, that concludes all our action discussion items. We will go into executive session. There is right now scheduled 2 executive sessions. As of my understanding, there will be no motions or action taken after either one. Okay, the first one will deal with looking for a motion to go into executive session for personnel matters for, no, I'm sorry, wrong one? My bad. I even wrote it there. Okay. The motion to go into executive session for matters relating to employer-employee negotiations, whether or not in consultation with the representatives or representatives of the body or agency in order to protect the district's right to the confidentiality of its negotiating position and the public interest. Those that would be attending are board members, the 4 administrators, and Mr. Jeter. Do you have any idea timeline? 15? Okay, so Mrs. Getz, will you help me? We're going to start at 5 till 15 minutes. We will
10.
conclude the first one at 8:10.
8:10.
Okay, all the, do we need I guess
Was that a
I'll second.
I've made a motion.
I'll second.
There's a second. It's been moved and seconded that we go into executive session. All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed say no. Executive session in 4 minutes.